Hello and welcome to Tass's Travel Tips. I'm Tass and this is Chica. And this video is a step-by-step guide on preparing for a flight with your furry best friend.
So today we're going to be talking specifically about flying with a pet in cabin. And these are kind of the topics we are going to go through today. Prior to adding your pet to the flight, there's a few things you'll want to do. You'll want to check your airline's in-cabin pet guidelines to make sure that your pet qualifies to be an in-cabin pet on their airline. Then you'll want to also get an appropriate travel bag / crate for your airline and for your pet, and make note of its dimensions because you're going to use those later. Most airlines recommend a soft-sided travel bag, and I'll show you the bag that I prefer later in this video. You're going to want to book your pet as soon as possible, either when you book your flight or right after you book your flight. So it really depends on the airline. For example, for Delta, you cannot add your pet while you are booking your own flight. You would need to either call or chat with their customer service online to add a pet after you book your own flight. And when you do this, you're going to need to know the type of pet, the breed, sex, age, weight, and the bag that you are bringing and its dimensions. But for example, for Frontier, it's very easy to book a pet. All you have to do is check a box that says you are bringing a pet when you are booking your own ticket. So make sure you check your airline and what their process is. Next, you're going to take some steps with your veterinarian. So you're going to want to do this weeks to months before your flight because sometimes booking an appointment with a veterinarian can take some time. First thing, and the most important thing, is to make sure your pet is up to date on their vaccinations, especially rabies. At the same time that you do this, your vet should be able to make sure that your pet is healthy for flight and for travel. And the third thing, which is optional in most situations, is to get a pet health certificate. So what this is a certificate that says your pet is certified by your vet to be healthy for travel. And it's a document that my vet actually did recommend that we bring with. And there's been times that we have not gotten this document at all, and no one has ever asked for it. So I think it is optional, but you might want to talk to your vet about it. Next, you're going to want to pack for your pet. So you're going to want to do this in the days and weeks prior to the flight, depending on how early you like to start packing. So of course, if you haven't purchased a pet carrier, you're going to want to research and find the best pet carrier for you and for your pet. There's different options. There's ones that are like a duffel bag. There's some that are backpack. So it really depends on what you prefer and what you think will be best for your pet. And for your pet's food, it depends on what they eat. So if they eat wet food, it is considered a liquid, and it must comply with the TSA 311 rules for carry-ons, even if it is a prescription food. So there are some alternative options instead of the wet food. You can check a bag and pack the wet food there. TSA 311 rules are only for carry-ons. So if you're checking a bag, you can pack as much wet food as you'd like. Another option is to purchase wet food at your destination. Such as doing an online order through Petco. Just make sure that there is a store at your destination where you will be able to get this. And the third option is to use a dry food like a kibble instead of the wet food. So you can take the kibble and put hot water over it to moisten it up for your dog if they have, for example, difficulties chewing kibble, or if they don't have many teeth like my dog. But what I found best is to blend kibble in like a Vitamix to kind of make it into a powder. That way when you add water to it, it's a much faster option. So it'll moisten it within a few minutes and then your dog can eat it and they have no problem chewing it. And if you'd like to use hot water for this, hot water is generally available in any coffee shop. So even in an airport, it won't be hard to find. And another tip is just keep anything that you need to keep your pet calm in easy access. So for example, like treats, blankets, toys, anything like that. Make sure that they are easy to access when you are on your flight, when you're packing. And you're going to want to pack a collapsible bowl, some dog wipes, and food safe wipes. And I'll go through these a little bit later as well. And pre-flight tips. So hours before your flight, you're going to want to make sure that you have everything that your pet needs all packed up and ready to go. You'll need to plan your pet's meals so they aren't eating a large meal right before they go to the airport, which could potentially make them sick if they are nervous. But you also don't want them to be hungry on the flight. And you'll want to exercise your dog to make sure they get out any excess energy. Now, when you get to the airport, you'll need to check your pet in, and this really depends on the airline that you are flying with. For example, for a Delta flight, you must go to the airline ticket counter and check your pet in. And they are going to take a look at the bag that your pet is in and make sure that they fit and that they're comfortable in there. And then they'll give you a ticket to put on the bag. But for example, Frontier does not require this, so you don't have to go to the front desk at all unless you are, doing something else there like checking a bag. But if you're not checking a bag and you have no other reason to go to the front desk, then you don't need to and you can head straight up to security. Something to keep in mind is that at busy airports, you'll need to get there earlier than normal to go through this process. And make sure that you choose the correct line when you do this. And I bring this up out of past experience because we had a bad time with this at I think it was in the Las Vegas airport, where the airport was very busy and we were checking in for a Delta flight, and normally we don't need to go to the front desk because we don't travel with any checked luggage. This time we had our dog with, so we did have to go to the front desk, and it was very busy. There was a very long line. We went through the normal line, and once we got to the front of the line after an hour, we realized that there was a separate line for pet check-ins, so we had to go over to that line. And that line was pretty short, so unfortunately we wasted a lot of time. And once we got through that, my husband had some trouble with security and he ended up missing his flight. I made it, he did not. So yeah, make sure that you get there earlier and that you are in the correct line. So next you would go up to security and go through security with your pet. And this can be kind of a scary process if you're not used to it. So my first tip, and I recommend this for anyone flying with a pet or not, is to get TSA PreCheck. TSA PreCheck allows you a much easier experience going through the security line, and it costs, I think it's about $80, and it lasts for 5 years. So even if you fly even once to a few times a year, it is totally worth the money for what you get out of it. Now, when you go through TSA, what you'll do is take your pet out of their travel carrier and hold them. If they do have any collars or harnesses on that might have any metal parts, you'll want to take those off and just put that back into their travel carrier. If you have any other baggage or a coat or anything that you'll have to take off for security, go ahead and do that. And depending if you have TSA PreCheck, you might need to take off your shoes or take out liquids, remove laptops, etc. So go ahead and do that. And then when it's time, the TSA agent will tell you to walk through the metal detector, and you'll do this while you carry your pet. And then once all of your belongings get through the X-ray scanner, then you can take them and put your pet back into their travel carrier and get your stuff all together. So next, all you need to do is wait at the airport with your pet for your flight. And depending on the airport, most airports do have either an indoor or an outdoor pet relief area. So find one and use it if your pet needs to. And I find the outdoor ones are much better than the indoor ones. The indoor ones can get very smelly, and it seems like my dog just doesn't like using them because there are so many smells there. So it is much better if we can find an outdoor pet relief area. Airports that are in warmer weather areas will have outdoor pet relief areas, but even like the Denver airport has an outdoor one that is really nice. Now, in general, pets are technically supposed to stay in their carrier when you're in the airport, but I always see many dogs out walking around either on their leash or being carried, and it really depends on the city. It seems some different cities are more dog-friendly. What I usually like to do is just find a quiet corner away from other people and relax until boarding. I try to make sure that they are not a bother to anybody else, and there could be people around who have dog or pet allergies, so try to be cognizant of that when you are out in public. So next, you'll be boarding the plane, and you'll be on the plane with your dog, so here's some tips for that. So I found that sometimes it can be difficult to get the carrier under the seat in front of you if you have already sat down because your legs are in the way. So it might be best if you kind of maneuver the carrier from the aisle into your row under the seats and then kind of slide it underneath the seat that would be in front of you. And then you sit down after that. Every airline that I've seen has a policy that pets must remain in their carrier and under the seat. So you can't take the carrier out of under the seat and put it in your lap. You can't take the pet out of the carrier. They must remain in the carrier. And most airlines that I've seen also, their policy is that pets should remain silent and nobody should be able to smell them. Basically, you should be the only one who really knows that they are there. People around you shouldn't know that they are there. They shouldn't hear them. They shouldn't smell them. Now, during takeoff and landing, pets' ears can pressurize and pop just like yours do. So you might want to give them a small piece of a treat or something during these times to make sure that they are comfortable. And if your pet is anxious, or even if they're just cold, something that you can do is take your shoe off and put your foot into the carrier with them, if there's room, and then zip the carrier closed around your ankle. That way it kind of will calm them, because it's, basically a part of your body is in there with them. This is something that I used on a trip where there was another dog near us, and the other dog was not very calm. It was very anxious and whining, so that was kind of setting off my dog to want to whine as well. Now, if you're on a longer flight, you might need to offer small amounts of food or water, and you'll want to check on your pet randomly throughout the flight, but overall, if they're asleep and they're calm, just let them be. Now, here's kind of a list of some pet travel item recommendations that I have, and I will list these in the description below with some links, so click on those links if you are interested. So here's the pet carrier that we have. It is the Sherpa Original Deluxe Airline Approved Pet Carrier in medium. And some things that I do like about this is that if you kind of take a look here, you can see that there is mesh on 3 sides, so it's very breathable. It has a top zip opening and also has a front zip opening, and then in the back here, the only part that is not mesh, that is a full pocket, so you can hold anything you need, like water bowls, food, treats, etc. And a very helpful item are these collapsible silicone dog bowls, just because they take up very little space, and you're always going to need a bowl around for water or food. To make your pet carrier a little more comfortable, it's nice to have either a bed or a pad or just some small blankets. And these are the blankets that I like. They have some different sizes depending on the size of your pet. At this point, I prefer the medium. It is 30 by 20 inches, so it's a good size for my dog, and my dog's about 8 pounds. Not only that, but the patterns of these blankets are just really cute and come in some really fun colors. Yeah, this pattern has little elephants, and they're super cute. Now, this isn't specific for the airport, but something that's nice to have, especially for a small dog, if you are traveling with them, is a pet sling to carry them around. This is the one I've been using a lot lately. It's the Pet Catan, or Pet Catan, or Catan. But basically it allows you to put this sling on, and it's kind of like one of those baby slings, but it's designed specifically for your dog, even though I think that they're pretty much the same design. It does allow you to support your dog from both shoulders, so it's just an easier option than some other slings. For example, another sling that I've used is this one, and it's just an easier option than having these slings that only go over one shoulder, because your shoulder can get quite sore. However, these are nice for their own purposes, and of course there's many other options. The one that I have here is sold out. There's so many different options, so you'll find something that you like if you're interested. Something else that I find very helpful are these earth-rated dog wipes, and I use these not only for traveling, but just taking my dog for walks or going anywhere, because if your dog, if they go to the bathroom and they kind of have a little bit that gets stuck to their fur, it's really nice to be able to wipe that off. And to make this a little bit easier, something that I like to do is have these little baggies. This one is like 3 by 4 inches, and you can put an individual wipe in here and then just bring those along on your walk or put them in your carrier. So they're super easy to bring with for individual use. Along that same line, I like to bring these Eat Cleaner food grade wipes to clean out my dog's bowl when we're traveling. In case we don't have access to like a sink to wash our bowl out, these wipes make it super easy to do that, and they're food safe. And now for some bonus content. This is one of the places that we found to be more dog friendly than we expected, and that is Las Vegas. Some things to be aware about is there is a rule that dogs can only be walked on the strip from 5 a.m. to noon. So you're going to want to do that early if you're going to want to walk your dog on the strip. But for example, for me with our small dog, we had her in a sling and we were walking on the strip and that was no problem at all. So dogs are generally allowed anywhere that has an outdoor patio as far as restaurants. And for example, we took Chica to the Taco Bell Cantina patio, and that was super fun. We also took her to several casinos and sat at machines and gambled, and no one had a problem with her being there. And of course, Chica is very well behaved. She's a very quiet dog. She's very calm. And I had her in a sling, so no one saw her as a problem. At one casino, one of the security guards, while I was sitting at a machine, actually came up to me and asked if I had a baby in the sling. So I had to show her that it was a dog and also show the security cameras that it was a dog, and she just pet her and walked away. So it was not a problem at all. It was very nice. And we found that pet-friendly hotels in Vegas do have pet relief areas. Sometimes they're not that great. They're usually the fake astroturf grass, and my dog just doesn't prefer that. She'd actually rather go on the rocky ground of the desert. But it is nice that different hotels will have those options. Another place we really like to visit with Chica is Southern California. It's very dog-friendly there. A lot of restaurants and bars will allow dogs, even inside, just ask, especially if they're a well-behaved dog. But of course in Southern California there's a lot of outdoor patios, and pretty much all of those will allow dogs without any problems. Now, many beaches do not allow dogs, but we often see dogs on them anyway. There are several dog beaches, so if you want to bring your dog to frolic and run on the beach with other dogs, it is a very nice option, and it's super fun to actually just go there and watch as a dog lover. And in summary, I hope this video was helpful for you to plan a flight with your pet, and I hope that you have a great time traveling with your pet. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel for more travel videos. Thank you and have a great day.